Alright, well guys, today I'm going to show you how I made this mediocre looking knife. It would look a lot better. The handle's kind of chunky looking because I ran out of sandpaper and there's lots of snow on the ground, so I couldn't run to town and buy more. But anyway, I could have made it look a lot nicer. I just ran out of materials. So anyways, this is how I did it. If you're going to do it better. So I downloaded some knife templates and printed them out. They're about 10 inches long because I like big knives. So I'm not sure. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Just kidding. I'm going to do this one because that's why I downloaded this template, for that one. Anyway, so now I'm just going to cut it out with an X-Acto knife. So I found this piece of scrap steel here. This will be what I'm using to make the knife. Right now it's very rusty, so first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to clean it up with, I'm just going to take it over the bench grinder and knock off some of that rust. Here I just take the template that I downloaded and cut out, and I put it onto the steel that I cleaned up, and then I use Sharpie to trace around it. That way I get the then I just use that outline, and then I'm going to cut it out with the angle grinder. Alright, so here it is after I've got it cut out with the angle grinder. As of right now, it looks really rough. So now I'm going to take it over to the bench grinder, get everything cleaned up, and have it looking, grind it down to profile. That way it looks more like it's supposed to instead of this jagged piece of crap. Alright, well, I used a file for quite a bit just to get the edges down nice and filed, that way they don't have that grinded look on them anymore. And it'll save me so much time later when I have to sand and everything on it to give it that nice finish. Anyways, now I marked out the line for the bevel like it has on the template here, just like that. And I also Sharpied the edge of the knife. You can kind of see on here. I Sharpied the edge knife, just colored it, and then used a 3/16 inch drill bit to scratch a line right down the center of it. That way I know right where the middle of it is. Mine's 3/16 inch. Obviously, if yours is thicker or thinner, go ahead and use that size drill bit. That way you can get a line right in the middle of the blade. Alright, here it is. I took it over to the bench grinder to start working on the bevel, and then I came over with the file and started filing on it. The bevel's not going to look quite like how I originally drew it. I was following the template, how that bevel was, but I thought that was kind of a high bevel, so I'm kind of toning it down a little bit. And plus it's a little easier that way, saving myself a little bit of time. But anyways, now I'm just going to take it over to the bench grinder and start working on the bevel on the other side, and then I'm going to come back and file just like I did this side. Alright, here what I'm doing is I just take a drill bit to center punch holes, kind of, for the blade, for the knife handle where they're supposed to be, and then I drill the holes with my drill. Alright, what I ended up doing was I took my whole thing of red oak and I ripped it before cutting it, because this is too small, and I kind of messed it up when I was cutting on the table saw. Trying to rip something that small is just not going to happen. So I ripped this, and then now I'm going to cut it out and drill my holes. Alright, so I've got both pieces and I pinned them together, that way I can work them at the same time and they'll be uniform. At this point I'm just going to be rasping and sanding, getting the edges down and everything how they're supposed to be. Every so often I'm going to bring them back and check on the knife to make sure that they line up correctly. And after that's done, then we'll be ready for heat treat on the knife. Alright, well here's my barbecue grill forge that I made, and here's my air source right here, and I'm using charcoal because I don't know where I can get real coal right now. I'm looking around for it, but anyways, right now I've got my knife inside there. Can't really see, but my knife's in there. I'm just trying to get it to heat it up, and then I'm just going to take it inside here. And I've got my oil for quench. Make sure you put it in something that's not going to melt when there's something hot stuck in there. That's why I'm using an old soup can. I've seen people use like a metal pipe and they fill, but I'm just using a soup can. Once it gets hot enough, I'm going to come and quench it in here, and then it's time for the tempering process. Alright, well here it is after heat treat. I just heat it up to here on the blade because that's all I really needed hardened. Now the blade is extremely brittle. You'll notice if it actually is differential heat treated, you can feel, like you run a file over it, it'll almost sound like glass over here, but it'll still bite in back here because that's not quenched. But it is extremely brittle, so the next step, I will put it in the oven for a couple hours at 400 degrees, and it'll have more of this straw-like color that you see kind of in here, goldenish color. But what I always do first is clean it up, that way it doesn't stink up the kitchen. Otherwise it'll smell like oil and whatnot. Alright, here's the knife after I've tempered it. You see it's got a nice golden color on it, and I put it in the oven for 2 hours at 400 degrees. I put it in for an hour, took it out, let it cool down, and put it in the oven again. So now that it's all tempered, I'm just going to sand it to get that silver color back, and then I'm going to epoxy the handles on. Sorry, just realized that I totally put the handle together without having the camera on. Anyways, if you can't figure out how to put epoxy on 2 slabs of a handle and glue it onto a knife and then peen, I'm forgetting the word, I'm spacing out here. Peen the rods, sorry. If you can't figure out how to do that, you shouldn't be trying to make a knife, let alone own a knife. Anyway, so I just glued the handle on, and then I peened the copper pins. I wish I had brass, but I had to do with copper. And then I did a little bit of rasping to shape the handle, and now I'm just going to sand on it, and then I'm going to put some stain on it, and then a little bit of linseed oil. That way it's then it's good to go. somewhat know how to sharpen stuff, you can kind of pass the paper test. I mean, I'm not a professional knife maker by any means, but for me, novice metal worker, I think that's alright. So anyways, that's how you make the knife. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I really like making, I want to make some more knives. I want to start doing more of that stuff. But for that to happen, I need to be able to make money to buy actual knife making supplies, like good steel, not this mystery steel from a piece of rust that I found. So yeah, hey, share the video if you like it with your friends. I need to grow my channel a little bit. Go to aceofblades.spreadshirt.com. Ace of Blades merchandise. I've got t-shirts, hoodies, coffee cups. It's pretty cool stuff. Yeah, it's a little expensive, but it's the only way I can really do it, because if I went to like someplace in town and bought t-shirts, it would cost me a lot of money, and I can't really afford to buy them, and then I'd have to ship them to people. This way everything's taken care of. Everything's much simpler. aceofblades.spreadshirt.com. Oh, phone cases too. Yeah, there you go. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. I'll see you guys next week, hopefully with a machete build. Alright, anyways, see you guys.